Hello, folks, and welcome to the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus Show. Live coming at you. We're moving in a little bit slow today, but you know what's happening this month? We got a beautiful month this month, folks. We're glad having you here in the show. We've got guests from all over as we highlight African American or Black History Month, as some people call it. Glad to have you back here at the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus Show. Live. Didn't have our usual musical intro, but we are so happy to have you back now because this is a fantastic show we've got coming up, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about all the fantastic stuff that's going around. But man, let me talk to you a little bit first about that weather. Whoa, what's that weather? Something else. Man, the last couple of days, the weather has been, and my phone is dinging. You know what? Oh. And you know what you get in a live event. You're going to always have something going on. And I've got one of my co-hosts who's trying to log in. I don't see her. But we'll figure it out what's going on with it. But I'm glad to have you folks here. And I think Erin is trying to get in. I don't understand why she's not getting in. My co-host was having technical difficulties. Let's try to figure it out. I don't know why she's not getting in. Let me try to see if I can get her some information that might just help her out a little bit. As I go back here and I go to the information I think that I need to help her out. And we're going to do another little retake to see if she can log in. Oh, I don't get it. Anyway, I'm going to give it to her again now. Bam, there it is. She's got it. But folks, welcome again back to the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus Show. Live. Glad to have you folks back here today. We've got a fantastic show, as I said, for you. So I'm going to start out talking about what we do every Wednesday. And every Wednesday we talk first. Guess what? It's Woke Wednesday. Woke Wednesday in the first show of the month of African American History Month, Black History Month, as some folks call it. And we are just happy to have folks back here with us today. And we usually start off by talking to you a little about, have you been vaccinated? That's right. All of you small business owners, all you wannabe small business owners, all you folks who are supporters of small business owners, have you gotten vaccinated? If you haven't gotten vaccinated, get vaccinated because you need to be vaccinated. Because when you're vaccinated, we know you're safe. And you know we love you out there. We want to make sure that you're always available and out there with us. And one of the ways that we know that that's going to be the case is we know that you're vaccinated. And if we know you're vaccinated, we got no problems. We know you're absolutely going to be around with us, and everything else that needs to be done over this next coming year. Today is a special day. Guess what? Today's must be the day for deuces, because this is 2022. It is the second month of the year, and it is the second day of the year. Only pops around. Somebody do the math on that and tells me how long does 2022.02.02 pop up? Not that often. So that's one of the things that we have coming up now. And folks are just fantastic, happy about this year being the year that you have some fantastic things happening. I'm also trying to multitask out here, which I am a terrible multitasker, but I am trying to get it done. So let me see whether or not it actually worked for me. I think it worked for me as I try to press a couple extra buttons here just to make sure we have everything out there. So the caucus is just happy to have you here with us today. And, you know, also, I just want to let you folks know, too, there's a fantastic thing that's going on now with respect to all of the things that people have been doing out there, getting ready for this month and getting ready for I guess what's a good way to put this? A way to say only so many days are left back in the the winter, because we're into February. And just think, folks, 20, what, today's the second, 26 more days. Then you're moving into March, and then March is technically, I don't know, I guess it's not. That's when I really start thinking about, hey, it's springtime. Spring is coming in March. March showers, right? So be happy. And I guess I'll stop just sort of rambling on with different things and just tell you, listen, stay safe, get your shot, do your social distancing, get your hands disinfected. Okay, folks. So on Woke Wednesday, in the middle of the second day of February, and also our first show in the month of African American history and Black history, as I said, we want to welcome you. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is just kind of put out there, since it's African American History Month, let's put a factoid out there. You know, we've got on our social media, we've dropped out there our own little, I guess we call it this is not a meme, but this is just the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus. The Virginia Dems celebrates African American History Month. So if you see that out there anyway, and you see that, tag it. That's us. That's us just saying, hey, we're giving our special nod to that. And we're also giving a special nod to talking about that African American history fact that has to do with African American small business and business that's been around for quite some time. You know, I took a little bit of time, and I'm going to put this up here right now, is a book that really is out there, and it's from the what do you call it? I got to share my screen on this. Wait a minute. Let me do this the right way, folks. Let me share my screen on this, because I want to kind of tell you about what this is all about. Excuse my technical difficulties. I need to do this the right way. I want to share a screen. I need to share a screen, right? And then I need to bring up the screen I want to share. And then I want to hit share. And then it allows me to talk to you at the same time while you see what I'm talking about. There was a book that I found out there online. And this comes from actually a book put together by the Public Affairs Department of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. And it's called A Great Moral and Social Force. And it's about a history of Black banks. And this is kind of interesting, because of what you see up there is the cover of the book on the left of you, and on the right side you see the back cover of the book. This book is as told by a gentleman by the name of Ken Todd. And these folks who are in the picture, in the center there, if you can make it out, is a gentleman called Joseph Walker. He was the founder and the first president of the Memphis Tri-State Bank. He's visiting 386 Bill Street ahead, and the bank's 1946 opening in that location. And during the Civil Rights era, the bank hosted numerous planning meetings for protests, marches, and demonstrations. And today the building is on the National Register of Historic Places, and that image has been slightly modified for clarity, but it's a great picture. And basically what the quote says on the back, and this is a quote from the president and the chief executive officer of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. It says, "As I have seen firsthand throughout my 40 years, community banks are a critical facilitator of local stability and opportunity as they influence on a community's well-being and extends well beyond the parameters of financial considerations. Many of the banks within this volume exhibit the qualities to an exceptionally high degree. Applying their lessons in the face of modern challenges has potential to pave the path for progress." And this is Esther L. George. She is the current president and chief executive officer, CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, that put this book out. And it's a fantastic book. By the way, here's a great thing about it. It is absolutely free. So Google the federal, get the name right again, Google the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, and you can ask for an electronic copy of this book, or you can ask them for a hard copy. And guess what? They will send you a hard copy. They will send you more than one hard copy. And it's a great And the book's called A Great Moral and Social Force, A History of Black Banks. And it's a fantastic read. I just started it, and I just felt I wanted to share that on African American History Month with folks. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hit there. Oh, technology is working for me. I'm ready to, and I believe my hostess, co-hostess with the mostest is coming up. I see you out there, Erin, and she looks to be talking. So I'm about to bring her into the stream because we want to make sure we have all of our folks here. And there she is. Erin, how are you? I can't hear you. Can you say something? Erin, are you muted? Hopefully you're not muted. I can't hear you, Erin. Oh, boy, I tell you, this technology, you got to love it. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Erin. You're muted. I think she's trying to figure that out. I'm going to remove her out of the stream for now until she's actually able to get her mute button off. But listen, folks, it's always fun here at the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus Show. We love to say we are informative, we are informal, and we are engaging. And we like to talk about the things here that matter in people's lives and just sort of keep it simple and keep it forward by talking about, for one, the most important things that are out there that we're all trying to get taken care of. And I'm going to get to my favorite subject in a second. And let me ask Erin if she can hear me. I see her in our virtual green room. Erin, can you hear me? If you can, say yes and take your mic off and mute, and I'll bring you into the stream. I'm not sure whether she can hear me. So I'm trying to see whether she can. Matter of fact, I'll try to give her a call as we're doing this, because we definitely want to get Erin on the show here. And we're always having some technical difficulties, but we can resolve that pretty easily. Hey, Erin, I'm calling you. Erin? Hello? I don't know if she can hear me. She's really having a challenge here. Okay. Okay, I'll try it one more time. Folks, pardon me as I try to see if I can get her online. To see if she can devices not connected. Okay. I think I just lost her. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep ahead. I gave it the good old college try, as they said. So we're going to keep moving ahead with our show. The next thing that we really want to talk about is also just reminding folks, one, we've got a great guest coming up, and telling folks about the things that we like to go ahead and talk about on the show. One of the things first, we're talking about Virginia politics. The sessions are back on with the state house, and sessions are back on with the state senate. And there's some issues that are going on in Virginia right now. We have a challenge. We have the gentlemen and gentle ladies from the other side of the aisle that are occupying the three major statewide offices in Virginia. One of the challenges that are going on right now, in a way it can affect small business, but has to do with a lot of challenges to what books people can actually read. A lot of these school boards are having people come in and say, hey, I don't want my kid reading this book or that book. Personally, I'd rather leave that to the professionals and leave it to the elected school boards. Of course, parents do have a say, but that's why they elect school board members, in order to get their voices out there and make sure that they're having someone who represents them as their school superintendent and as their school board representative for whatever region they're in. It's different jurisdictions do it different ways, but that's how they do it locally here in Virginia, where I am. We elect school board members, and we have a school superintendent that is either hired or elected. Yet anyway, and that's pretty much how that goes. The other challenges that are happening out there too in Virginia, since we have there's mandates where the governor had left it up, the Democratic governor had pretty much left it up to the school districts to determine whether or not uh, they wanted to determine whether or not kids in their jurisdictions wore masks to schools. Figuring they're local, they know what's best for their particular jurisdiction, and that's my understanding. So I believe the current governor that's there is trying to change that and making it taking that decision basically out of the hands of the local school jurisdictions and saying everybody has to not wear masks, and or if they don't want to, they don't have to, and they don't have to follow their local jurisdiction. That's a challenge. It's a challenge, and that's being worked in our area right now. And of course, with all the rest of the stuff that is happening across the country and in Virginia, I think I'm going to have I'd like to get one of our representatives online who will from either our state senate or our state delegate, maybe after the session, to kind of give us an update on that. And also, we'd like to have some folks who are from our local county school board or either the local supervisor for our areas, and have them come on to our show and just basically talk to some of these things, and then just have an engaging conversation. Like I said, we love to have informal, informative, and engaging, and just sort of talk with our audience out there. Now, right now, we're continuing to move forward in the show, and we have a fantastic guest coming up who is a local person who's done a lot of interesting things over a number of years in this particular jurisdiction where I'm at in Northern Virginia. So we're looking forward to having her, but she's our surprise guest, so I'm not going to say her name, but I'm going to give her a big intro. So stay ready for that. And, we're about 15 minutes into the show, a little more than 15 minutes into the show. And I want to start to talk about what it is that we are hammering every show until it gets taken care of. And it's our call to action. And you folks kind of know what I'm going to talk about. And it is something that is extremely important. And we need to make sure that we're hammering this home every opportunity we get. And that is exactly what I'm doing. So, folks, I'm going to talk about voting rights. Yep. Voting rights, and why voting rights are so important, and why our voting rights is something that we need to make sure that we're doing, and we get these bills passed. And folks, one of the things that we're working on first with voting rights is talking a little bit, about the bills that are out there. When we talk about HR 4, which I've spoke of many times, I know you folk are probably saying, geez, is she going to ever stop talking about that? And I will once it gets passed. Yeah, I'm talking about the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. It's gotten out of the House of Representatives, as I've said, and it's gotten to the Senate, and they've done a little bantering back and forth on it. But it has not gotten, more importantly, it has not gotten out of the Senate onto the president's desk for signature and put into law. Because as everyone always knows, voting, and I tell you, voting is foundational. It is foundational to a democracy. If you don't have the right to vote, you have no ability to affect your government or have people who represent you. You just can't, because if you don't have any vote, hey, as much as I love my dog, I used to have his name, I won't tell people, but great dog. But you know what? He couldn't vote. I know I'm being kind of silly, but he's basically, your dog has to do whatever you tell him to do because he's got no votes, he got no rights. You're ahead of him. You own him, right? That's not how it works if you're an American citizen. I know it sounds a little extreme, but that is not how it works. And what you have to do is make sure you understand how important your vote is, getting things done that you want to get done here in the United States. And let's get back to HR 4. HR 4 basically does one main thing. It puts the main potential back into the Voting Rights Act, which was taken out of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I always missed it. It was 64, 65. But anyway, it puts it back. Okay. And it basically says pre-clearance, which is the important part. The pre-clearance part more just says, hey, you have to have the Department of Justice approve any laws that are changed in the United States government and it's got to be at least 180 days before an election. That is the main piece. So people cannot just make arbitrary laws, arbitrary decisions, and arbitrary things regarding a person's voting rights. And guess who's back? All of a sudden, there she is. There is Erin, our co-host. And I knew I saw you down there in that virtual green room, Erin. I said, I'm going to surprise you. Hit this button and bring her right on into the stream. And Erin is our interim chair from the Louisiana Democratic Party Small Business Caucus. And she's been on travel. You're someplace out in Los Angeles, someplace, or in Cali, right?
I am. Hey, everybody. I'm tuning in from San Diego, California. Mark just popped me on the screen. My background is all over the place. I'm just like, you know what? They're just going to get me in my new environment. It's sunny here in San Diego.
Wow.
It's amazing. And yeah,
it must be sunny there. I see all that sun coming in behind you, and it's like it's after 7 here. It's dark. There's no sun on the East Coast. So Erin,
it's 4:22 here. Huh? Yes, I said it's 4:22 here in California. So yeah,
beautiful sunny California. We're still, I don't know, we got around about 50 degrees today, 55. It was still cold out there. No, it wasn't no 55. I'm lying. It's probably more like 40 or 45. But there was some sun out here in Northern Virginia, but not much. Okay.
Y'all bundle up, okay? Y'all bundle up. I'll catch enough sun for y'all and come there and bring some sunshine.
Well, fantastic having you back, Erin. I was just telling the folks here about the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the status of it, and just trying to let people know about pre-clearance. I know it's all important. There's work to be done down in, I know in Louisiana, where you're at, and also other places. So we're still pressing folks to say, hey, call your congressman. Call your congresswoman, call your congressperson, tell them you know about the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Mm-hmm. Tell them you know that it's out of the House of Representatives, and also tell them you want the Senate to get it out of there or whatever format it ends up being, and it gets to the president's desk for signature. That is exactly what we want to try to get done, because that is your call to action. We stay on that while we try to chew gum and walk at the same time. But I'll tell you, voting rights are foundational. We got to get that part done. Right. And the next part we got to get done, too, because the Democrats went even further. They went further and passed the Freedom to Vote Act, right, out of the House of House of Representatives. And Erin, do you want to talk about the Freedom to Vote Act, or do you want me to talk about it? Or do you want to tell me what's going on in California? Remember, we're home here. You can do whatever you want to.
Hey, Mark, I'm still on high. I just got off the plane. So I'm going to let you continue to hold it down and give
the
information that they need. Yeah.
Okay.
Our guest that we have tonight,
well, you sound pretty good. You lost your connection for a minute there. So it must have been the hotel Wi-Fi or something that was going wrong there, right?
Yeah, that's probably what's going on.
Probably was it.
I'm here, but I'm gonna let you continue to, run with it. I'm really excited about our guest that we have tonight. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, she's amazing. She is absolutely amazing. As a matter of fact, you just reminded me of something. I forgot. Did I have her? Did I take her stuff down? I need to put that back up, because it's going to come time for me to talk about that in a minute here, and I'm not going to be ready. But let me talk about the Freedom the Freedom to Vote Act and I'm not sharing my screen. No, I'm not, folks. I'm talking my way through the technology. Don't laugh at me. Trying to figure it out. Anyway, but the Freedom to Vote Act is not the Freedom to Vote Act. Excuse me. The next asset. I'm going to get it up here in a second. Let me bring it up for a second as I try to multitask, which I'm terrible at. I'm going to bring it now and show it to you folks right now. And it is the For the People Act, which is an extension of the voting rights for all Americans. And it goes past what HR 4 does and even says, hey, not only do we need that to happen, we don't want to have to revisit this again. We want a permanent law. Everybody, has the same rights no matter what state or territory that they live in. And the Freedom to Vote Act basically expands access to voting by having automatic and same-day voter registration, 2 weeks of early voting for all voters. It bans purging of voting rolls. So if you didn't vote the last election and you've already registered to vote, you shouldn't have to register every time you vote. I mean, once your name's on the polls, it ought to stay there. They ask for your ID, show them your ID, go vote, or whatever form of ID is accepted. And also, it restores the full Voting Rights Act of 1965. Excuse me, folks, I keep saying 64. It's 65 of when I was only 5 years old. It also has finance reforms and bans things like foreign money loopholes. It adds additional election security and also independent commissions to prevent gerrymandering. Basically, gerrymandering, real simple, is instead of the voters picking their elected officials, the politicians or the elected officials in office try to pick their voters, basically beating people out of the fair representation that they really ought to have based on where they live and how many people live there in those congressional districts. Also, it grants and helps states replace voting machines, and it also helps make sure that the processes for auditing and securing the election, the elections is done and done correctly. Those are the things that are important. Okay, and people need to understand that those are the things when you have secure elections, you don't have those problems. Let me tell you what's going on now. This has been happening ever since the 2020 election, and we're trying to make sure that it doesn't go any further. You've got more than 43 states with over 500 different laws they're passing because of people saying, hey, there was a big lie out there and whatever. And then that whole thing went through all of our courts. None of it was found to be true. But where the folks on the other side of the fence who are controlling state houses that are not the Democrats who are controlling them have passed more than 443 laws, 443 laws that affect your voting rights. Not only how you vote, but even how the votes are independently calculated after you voted. So they're trying to not only make it hard for you to vote, but they're also trying to make it a double whammy. Even if you do get through all of our obstacles, if we don't like the outcome, we're still going to change the outcome to something that we're happy with. And that's just not the American way. And as I tell you all the time, voting rights are not Democratic and they're not Republican. They're not independent. They are American rights for the American democracy. And everybody deserves access, no matter where you come from, to unfettered access to their voting polls and make sure that those votes get counted and counted correctly. That's what voting rights is all about, and that's how we keep a democracy here in this country. And I just want to ask you, Aaron, what do you have to say about that? You got something to say. I have plenty to say, but I know you've got something to say about it. Go ahead and tell them something, Aaron, because I know I'm not allowed to do the technology. Okay. Things like that happen. But tell them, Aaron, what's your feelings on this before I start to introduce.
Listen, This is a very important conversation. It blows my
Yeah.
mind the fact that we are still having this conversation. But
Yes.
since we are having the conversation, I believe that it's vitally important for people to understand their role in, ensuring that
Hmm.
we get this passed and we get the things that we need out of it, right? While things are being
Hmm.
negotiated on the table, we need to be advocates for our community, and we need to pick up the phone and have the conversations with our congressmen and women. And we also need to show up where they are having these conversations. Go to speak with your legislation. We all have a role in this, and we also need to do our part. I just echo what you've already
Hmm.
expressed, that the time is now for us to show up, do our part,
That's
and
right. Show up
yeah,
and show out. Call your congressperson. Tell them you're not having it. And you want voting rights legislation passed so we can get on to other things.
indeed.
Indeed. So, Aaron, how you liking California? We don't
Oh
want
man,
to take it. We want people to understand that we're serious, but we're gonna have fun while we win too. We gonna
every
win
day,
and
all
have a
day.
little fun, but let you folks know this is serious. Go ahead, Aaron. What are you gonna say?
Look, every day, all day, we have fun while we work. As a full time business owner, I'm here for work, but we are having fun while we are working, and we're impacting people's lives. So I'm just excited. San Diego is amazing. It's beautiful. The palm trees, um,
Mm-hmm.
just like a breath of fresh air.
Oh, so
I'm
you're in
by
San
the water.
Diego. Okay. Oh,
I'm by the water. Yes.
wow, that is
Yeah,
nice. Yes,
yes. Yes.
that's
I'm in
nice. Oh, that is
Halifax.
really nice.
Yeah.
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 So, we're still waiting for our guest to come on until I see her down in the virtual waiting room. I'm not going to talk too much about her, but she's a surprise. She's just a fantastic person to talk to. She's really done a whole lot over in her lifetime and got a lot more to do. But it sounds like San Diego. I told you to get some of those fish tacos in San Diego. Did you get some last time you were
Fish tacos.
there? Yeah.
I ate at the fish market a number of times. We were
Yeah.
actually in Delmar. This was about 2 weeks ago. And the fish, the vegetables, everything was so fresh, straight
Okay.
out the water. The
Mm.
vegetables were straight off the farm, and everything
Okay.
was delicious. It was amazing. But I did not have the fish tacos. They did have the tacos on the
Mm.
menu.
Well, you got to
But
have
so
some of those. They're
I,
good. The grilled fish tacos are the ones that I like there. That's what they're kind of known for in San Diego. And excuse me, as my phone's binging at me. But you know what? I think it's time to start to
I
talk about our
do.
fantastic special guest. And folks, we've
Yeah.
just been waiting for this. I want you to bring, oh, there she is. Aaron's helping me out here. I appreciate it. And listen, folks, we have a fantastic guest who's going to be on the show now. And I've known her for a number of years. Her name is Nelfred Blanding, and we affectionately call her Tilly. And Tilly is the daughter of Alfred and Nellie Tilly of Orangeburg, South Carolina. And at that time, they instilled in her the importance of community advocacy and nurtured within her the confidence to join the civil rights movement in the early 1960s. No, she couldn't have done that. Tilly, not that. She's not that. No, she must have been her parents. Not Tilly, not 1960. She's too young for that. But anyway, it says it here, so it must be true. And let me tell you, Tilly began her career here, 30-year career with the Fairfax County Government as a social worker. And she's been a key player in getting opened in a family resource center in Southern Fairfax County. Yeah. And she worked relentlessly and tirelessly to make sure that every disadvantaged family that she knew had the opportunity to make sure that they had all the necessities that they needed for their family to survive, and to more than just survive, but to thrive here in Fairfax County, because Fairfax County has a lot of resources. And finally, I want to say that Tilly is just a proud graduate of South Carolina State University. That's an HBCU, if you all didn't know. Let's give a little shout out to South Carolina State. And also, she's an active member of the NAACP, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and Service Employees International Union, the SEIU, as people know it by. And also, she's a proud and longtime member of the Antioch Baptist Church here in Northern Virginia. And also, it's located in Fairfax Station, by the way. I just want to give Antioch its proper due. And the South Carolina State University Alumni Association, of which she is also a member. Tilly is also she's part of the Divine Nine, y'all. Tilly is an active member, an AKA, or the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. I guess they say incorporated at the end, but Tilly will let me know. And of course, our vice president is also an AKA, so she's in that same club. And folks, she's also been very much involved as a volunteer in the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, in the Democratic Women of Clifton, and the Springfield Democrats. Folks, I want you all to put your hands together, because we got a fantastic person coming to. Oh, Tilly, how are you?
Mom!
Tilly's here. Tilly's here.
Hey.
Hey.
How's everybody?
I want to say like Ali, Boomerang. She coming in here to knock you out and win. Come on, Tilly. You've done so much.
Pleasure to have you tonight.
Yeah. Excuse me, Tilly. You've never met my co-host, so introduce yourself, Aaron, please.
Hi, Miss Tilly. I'm Erin Porche, and it is a pleasure to have you tonight. I am going to get out the way because we want to hear from you.
Oh,
Thanks
please, Erin. You were in wonderful San Diego. I vacationed there some years ago. Beautiful place.
Beautiful place. And Tilly,
Yeah.
it's just, you've really done so much, and I really had to just take little pieces out of your bio. And I even know things that was in that bio I didn't see, because I know you also ran for state delegate here in Virginia and ran a competitive race. I don't know whether you intend to run again, but there's another district opening up. We would love to have you in the
Somebody else do that. Bring the young people on.
Let the young people do it.
Yeah.
Billy, you and I talked a little earlier, but tell the folks about yourself. You can talk about anything you want to. We've got your information here and some other stuff. We'll be throwing up some pictures and things that you request and don't request later. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about Tilly.
Well, first of all, Mark, I want to thank you and Erin for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to be here, and just talk a little bit about, my journey on this battlefield for justice and civil rights. Yeah. I've been on it for a long time. I look back at it, and it's like 59 years ago that I went to jail 17 times as a 13-year-old in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Wow. Wherever you had historically Black colleges, and we have 2 of them in my hometown. We are located 70 miles from Charleston and 37 miles from Columbia, the capital. So whenever you had historically Black colleges, you had a strong civil rights movement back in the 60s. Am I not right?
Yes, ma'am.
Think about North Carolina, North Carolina Central, A&T, all of those places.
They're trying to, Billy,
right.
They're trying to intimidate them HBCUs now, but it ain't going to happen. I know you've heard about it.
Not on our watch, right?
Not on our watch. Didn't happen then, ain't happening now. Okay, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You had to, thank you for that interjection. I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway, because of that, we had our top leaders would come and they would march with us sometimes. They would speak to us right across the street. The 2 campuses are right next door to each other, right together. Nothing but a fence separated them. And it's right across the tracks, as we say, the railroad coming. There sits a beautiful Black United Methodist Church, Trinity United Methodist Church. That was our headquarters. Whenever we would march, we would leave from there and go downtown and march around Confederate Square. And the whole thing. You know what would happen? We would get arrested. We did sit-ins at lunch counters because we couldn't, get jobs there. We couldn't get a drink of water at the lunch counter. So we would go and sit on the red stools, and then they would take the stools off of the pole, and then the manager would come and berate us. But he would go back to Africa, you're dirty, you're this. And I can see him right now. I was 13 years old. I was in the 8th grade at Christ King Catholic School. And I was the youngest
13 years old. You have a clear memory of what that's like. And
I can see him right now with the white wrinkled shirt and black pants and the black rimmed glasses, going back and forth like a drill sergeant. And what we did, because we were a part of the non-violent civil disobedience movement of Martin Luther King. We would hold hands in front of the counter because nobody could go and eat while we were standing there. And we would lower our heads like that and just listen to all that, because you know what? We knew that's not who we were. What he was saying, we knew who we were, and we knew we were fighting for the right thing. So when Martin Luther King came to speak to us at Trinity. Oh my God, what excitement. And I'll tell you, Mark, I'll send you this video later. One of my friends who's home, he's going into the archives and they're pulling up all these videos, these black and white videos of us in that church singing. And he sent me the video. He said, Nelfred, look at you right there. I'm 13. And we're singing, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Turn me around, turn me around. Oh yeah.
Gotta give us some more of that, Tilly.
Keep on marching, keep on fighting, marching in the freedom land.
Yeah.
Yeah, we meant that.
All right. I'm going with that.
We were singing that from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful and I'm so thankful that I had parents who were members of the NAACP.
Amen.
Allowed me, because I was one of the only ones that I know in my class who went to jail. I was the youngest. The rest of them were high schoolers and college students. Allowed me to do that, because they knew their generation didn't do it, know, and that we were out there to do it. So we got a lot of support from them, and our parents were afraid. We picketed. So one day I was on the picket line, and a white man pulled a loaded gun on me. So I was the one chosen. It was 3 of us on that block, and we did a third of the block. Kept seeing this car drive by because I was right at the light in the yellow. And I see he's circling the block, and we had our picket signs on. And finally, I guess when I got right in the spot, he pulled over to the curb. I looked down in the car, and he pulled a loaded gun in my face. Well, Cindy Sultan was behind me. She said, "Run, Nelfred, run! Billy Young, run!" And we all ran up the block to the motorcycle cop. And we thought, why are we telling him? He probably sent him out here to do that. And the businesses did, because we were not spending our money in their stores. Oh, I believe in a good picket. We were not spending our money in those stores. So this is what they did to frighten us. I had to go home. And the 5 leaders from our movement came to my house to talk about with my parents, and they were friends of the family, some of the college professors. It's about 3 of them or 4 of them. I told them what happened. So that had never happened before when anybody had pulled a gun or anything like that, a weapon. So he said, we don't know when we have our meeting tonight at Trinity if we're going to announce it, Nellie, because they want people to get, become afraid, and pull back. So, but the word got all over town, that somebody pulled a gun on somebody, they didn't know who it was. But we kept fighting through all of that. And 2 hours after that man pulled that gun on me, I was right back out there on the picket line, picketing, because I wanted to show those cops, show those people that they could not frighten us. So that's what we were dealing with back there in the 60s.
Back at that time, they were doing, the 60s and before, so many people, particularly the African-American community, who were taking the brunt of it, and folks who were supporting us, who came down there to the South, and the folks down in the South, probably wasn't a whole bunch of them, but around the country that supported us that weren't African-Americans. But pulling a gun on you was the least of the problems, right?
Right. And that I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want to
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit. The Jews in the North supported our movement, with money. They did a thing called an exchange program, of which I was selected for. I was the youngest one, 8th grade, and there were about 5 other high school students. And we got in his van, because they vetted all these people to make sure, because parents are letting their kids go. We were going to live with white families. I lived with a white family in Pennsylvania at Swarthmore College. He was a college professor. And we would drop the kids off along, the way, and we get to see the homes, because, we never lived with white people. So, but they were wonderful people. And a lot of them were Jewish people. And so I lived with them for a whole week, went to school with them. I was in 8th grade, and then I spoke at the college. Eddie and I would speak. They would ask us questions about what we were going through. So, the movement allowed for us to have other experiences also, which I thought, was interesting.
Well, that's the part when we talk about voting rights now, which so many of our young people are beneficiaries of that. They don't know that their parents and folks like yourself and other people were actually involved, like in the student non-violent SNCC coordinating committee. I don't know whether you ever worked with them too, right?
No, I never did. But they came to town, I'm sure. But that's a great segue, because you know what? We can't blame our children. I blame me for that. We talk about it because you know what? We did it. That was just something we did. And we didn't talk about it with the other generations. We're doing it now. But I remember one time I had to speak for Black History Month program, probably about, my son's 35, probably about 20 years ago. And my son heard me, he was about 10, and he heard me say, they pulled a gun on you? He heard me say, well, when they pulled a gun on me, he said, Mom, they pulled a gun on you? And I thought, I haven't told this child anything. I really haven't shared a lot. No, I haven't shared a lot of that experience. And that's important for us to do that. Just like my Jewish brothers should never forget the Holocaust, we should never forget being enslaved. And celebrate Black History Month this month. We do it 12 months out of the year. I don't know what happened to the screen, Mark. I can't see you.
Somehow I think I may have pressed the wrong button. I may have done that by mistake, because I was trying to do something. I told you earlier, I'm not multitasking too well, but since we have an informal.
I like it.
It's okay. Go ahead.
So, my family actually hosted, when we had that exchange program, my family actually hosted a young lady who was a Jewish young lady from New York. Oh, she was a hippie. She had long hair, and she brought her guitar.
Right.
But I tell you what, there's 3 girls in my family. I'm the baby of 3 girls. And my parents. And I tell you what, she fit in just like she was one of our sisters, because that's how we treated her.
Right.
We treated her. She ate grits with us in the morning. I don't know if she ever had grits in her life, but she sure had a lot of grits that week when she was at our house.
She enjoyed them. She ate them.
So, these are the kinds of things. I bring that up to say, in the end, we're all human. In the end, we're all human beings. We want the same things from this life.
The same thing.
Food on the table, clothes on our back, a roof over our head, a good job, our children happy, and, prosperous. That's all. We just want a fair shake, as President Obama says, right?
Just a fair shake. Everybody.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying we're a country of laws, not a country of men. Everybody has to abide by the same rules.
Right.
Everybody gets treated the same way. Of course, there's no such thing as making everything equal in how people view things, but you can't have equity. And part that brings equity is when we use the laws that we have and the policies here in order to make sure that, people, get a fair shot. Get
a fair shot. That's all we're asking for.
That's all we're asking for.
I don't want you to be discriminated against, and I certainly don't want to be discriminated against either. How does that feel? Put
Well,
yourself in my
It all
shoes.
boils down to respect, it really all boils down to respect. And also,
respect.
being open to, hearing other perceptions, right? Because we
Yes.
do have our own views, which are derived on how we were raised, and
Right.
the environment that we were, involved in. So, it all boils down to respect. And that's what we're
The
talking about.
respect, right? And I've never been taught by my parents to hate anybody. You know,
Never.
never, ever. That word does not enter my vocabulary. They're people of great faith. We just don't do that. Where I come from. But when
Where I
Aaron
come
was saying
from.
something,
Well,
Aaron was
Tilly,
saying something about she can't believe that we're still fighting this battle. I can't believe that after 59 years, I'm still sitting here talking about this. Do you understand what I'm saying? That I'm still on the battlefield for justice, that I'm still going to jail. I went to jail last summer.
Yes, you did. I got the picture. Pull it up. Pull the picture up and show Tilly. Tilly was out there protesting.
Well, that actual picture, that's John R. Lewis. I went over to meet him when he was at the Smithsonian several years ago. About 4 years ago, we bought his book, and he'd been in my hometown. All I said was Orangeburg, South Carolina. He said, I've been there many times. So, we, these are our heroes.
You're out there protesting here, Tilly. Where are you here?
This past summer, right? This was at the Freedom Ride, the John R. Lewis Freedom Ride. Vote like your ancestors died for it.
There you go.
Right, because they paid the sacrifice. They were lynched, tormented, and harassed, fighting for the right to vote. Don't take that vote lightly. Vote your values and value your vote. This is
I was out there, Tilly, too, this summer at the National Action Network had sponsored the voting march rally, and I'm pretty sure there was quite a large amount of people out there. I mean, it was a pretty big group, so everybody's out there doing what they need to do. But when you were out there doing that with your group, it sounds like you come out to the Capitol after the fact and just sort of. I knew there was more than two of y'all out there, but I understand. But you know what? I believe she don't care if it's just two people. She's going.
Yeah, we took that picture away from the crowd. It was hot out there too. It was very hot. Very hot. But we were, here we are, still fighting.
Well, let me ask you, who's this group here? Now, tell me, this is at your church, right?
This is Martin Luther King's sister, who's still living. She's 90-something years old. My sorority sister, doesn't she look good? I was in Atlanta at Ebenezer Baptist Church. That's Martin Luther King's church.
Oh, I did not know that.
Classmates on the other side, who's a deacon at the church.
Oh, that's the other lady on the other side was a deacon at the church. Yeah,
that's Trudy. Yes,
and that's his sister.
That's his sister, looking good.
I did not know that. She looks good.
Yeah,
97 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And then I saw this other picture, and I said, "Who is this person with Tilly?"
That's the day actually I sang for President Obama.
Oh, I know everybody knows who that is.
Big rally, and I sang the national anthem before he spoke. So I got to meet him and take a picture with. Oh, I was so excited. So excited.
Tilly gets around. I tell you, she gets around. And that's not the only picture I've seen her with President Obama. I was like, she must be in all the Obama events because they're different shots, different days.
We work very hard. We work very hard.
Working hard because she's
like committed. I told somebody, I said, I worked my kneecaps off trying to get him into that black White House.
And when she says that, she means it because she out there with the Divine Nine. They're just picking up trash.
Yeah, we do community
work.
Yeah, doing community work.
So till I know there's nothing that you won't do. I showed those pictures for a reason because I wanted people to know all the various facets of you. But there's some things about you we don't know that you haven't talked about. Why don't you tell us a little more about something that this audience isn't a large audience, but people come back and watch it after the fact on Facebook and other places. And I say, well, who is this person, Tilly? What is it that I don't know about her that I should know? Some of the things that she really believes in and she really wants to support, other than all the other stuff you told us.
Well, I want to make this point. we're talking a lot now. The buzz is about the voting rights bill. And,
Right.
they want to say, oh, President Biden. No, don't mention President Biden's name. I hold the Senate Republicans accountable for this. That is who I hold. Because listen, let me tell you something. In years past, in all the years past in this nation, we have never been at this point. Republicans and Democrats have always reauthorized that voting rights bill. It wasn't until you know who got into office that all these big lies and craziness is going on. Think about that. This is the first time, right?
Yeah.
That they've not, that they're at this point. This is not right. It's not right.
You're
Never.
absolutely right, Tilly.
First time they've never reauthorized it. Just right off the bat.
First time.
Now think about it. It's going along with all the craziness. So see, this is so important, and we have this piece because I do a lot of registering people to vote. We've got that QR code from when we all vote. The thing on your phone, all you have to do is, scan it, put the phone on camera, no touch.
Mm-hmm.
And we're registering people, but we also need to have a conversation with people about how important it is, because you can't vote if you're not registered. So that's the first step, right? And why get registered and vote if you're not going to vote? So they need to know the value of that vote, why it's important to vote every time that poll door opens. Vote for dog catcher. Let your voice be heard. Okay?
I think you just gave us a good example. The common theme is when you were 13 years old and you were protesting at the lunch counters, what were they trying to stop people from doing?
Right.
Not so much eating at the lunch counter. They didn't want you to vote.
Right.
When people would go to vote and they would have all the various different things that happened with the Jim Crow laws that were around then that would make people have to recite the Constitution or count jelly beans in a jar or just poll taxes, all to stop you from voting.
Everything,
right?
all those,
everything. And what are the Republicans and the folks who are doing now? They are not allowing people unfettered access to the polling station and trying to change the outcome even after people manage to get through those obstacles.
Right. And
so
that was
you're one of the superstars set up. What?
That was a wonderful list that you put up of all the things that they're trying to do, because our voting rights are under attack.
Yes,
this is real. This is real, people. I'm telling you. You better vote like you've never voted before. Now, we were tremendous in putting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office. Unprecedented numbers came out to vote. You know what? People need a reason to vote a lot of times. Well, we've got a reason. They're trying to take away everything, our rights. They're trying to take away our rights. They're trying to take away the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Well, they have effectively done that.
And they don't want to be happy. Right. We were so happy when that was passed. Can you imagine how happy we were when that was passed? We were so happy.
What's that, man?
We were so happy when that was
the
passed.
1965
vote. Oh,
yeah.
My goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, goodness. Look. Oh, my God. All our hard work. Oh, look. Come on. And look.
And historically, what happened in 1877 when they made the compromise to take the Union troops out of the South? The very next day, the first thing they did to all the newly emancipated African Americans at that time, men who had the right to vote, was to attack their right to vote. They were literally killing them in the streets, burning their houses, forcing people to leave.
Right.
Businesses, everything, and family. And the first thing, but the point I'm making is very successful as governors, very successful in the state house, the federal house, even United States senator. And the first thing they did when they made that compromise with the South, they went after African Americans' right to the vote. So they knew that is the path to getting full citizenship in this country. So that's
Exactly.
why we're so proud of what you've done. And we need to continue to protect that.
Well, and it's just, for me, it's just frightening to see what's going on. And I want our children to know that, you had it so much better than we did. You didn't grow up under Jim Crow, but you've got something else you're dealing with, and you need to be on the battlefield fighting for that just as well. They have to, our young people have to run for office, these political offices, become savvy, become community minded, care about yourself, but care about your community. When we all thrive, we do better in this country. The gerrymandering you were talking about, all this redistricting, all these unfair lines. We want fair lines, rigging the system, basically, because in 2042?
Yeah.
That people of color will be the dominant. Well, think about that. Think about that, what I just said. So let's do everything we can to keep those people from having the rights to vote. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And I think that's what's really was making all the difference for what we were doing before, because we have to make sure when we talk about African American History Month that we're able to in matter of fact, you've got something right now that you wanted to tell us about, an event that you have coming up, and I'm trying to bring up your thing right now and share that screen so you can tell us about your event here. So folks can see it on the screen now. Tilly, tell us about the African American celebration of Black History you have coming up.
Okay, we every year we started this, a few social workers and myself 27 years ago in Fairfax County.
Right.
We started recognizing Black History Month, and we would have a wonderful celebration. We'd have speakers, we'd have the county officials. The county would proclaim it Black History Month. We'd have faith communities come out and step dancers and African dance, just a good old time. And we have Cox Communications, Cox Cable Company. They were our sponsor. And so we were able to, feed people wonderful food. It became a signature event. So last year we had to go virtual because of the pandemic.
Right.
And this year we're having it virtual also because of the pandemic. Okay. But as you see that we have county officials, we have one Black Board of Supervisor member, Rodney Lusk, Supervisor Lusk.
Yep. See his name?
And he's the first male board on the county. Before him was Supervisor Kathy Hudgens.
Right.
She was a Black female, and then she retired. And he didn't take her place, but he's in another district, Lee District.
Right, Springfield.
Yeah, Lee. It's called Lee District.
I mean Lee. You're right, Lee District.
Right. So he is going to be. We're going to have entertainers there, as you see. Yeah, so it's going to be on February the 11th, and it's going to be by the Fairfax County Channel 16.
Right.
And people can stream it. Go to the county website there, www.fairfaxcounty.gov, and it'll be streamed there. We've done all the pre-taping of it because of COVID.
And you've got it happening Friday, February the 11th. That's from 7 to 8 p.m.
Yes, so, and I'm emceeing that program. So we've got a lot of great stuff. We are going to be doing an interview. This is a nice segue with Anthony Mingo, who is from the county health department, who was instrumental in writing a grant because you were talking about COVID.
Okay.
This is a HHS, Health and Human Services, health literacy grant. And the main goal of this grant is to engage the community, give the community the correct information about COVID, the vaccination.
Right.
The vast majority of people in hospitals who are sick and dying from COVID are Black and Hispanic people. This grant is for Latinx, Hispanic, Black Americans, and African Americans. 73 counties throughout the United States, California included, Aaron. $250 million. This is the first time we've ever had a Greek component where they have the Divine Nine attached to this grant because, we work in communities. We serve all mankind. That's what we do.
Well, so for a lot of people who don't know about that, you're talking about the historically Black colleges and universities, sororities and fraternities,
right?
Who are the Divine Nine for, I'm just adding a little bit because a lot of people see this, they don't know. So I'm getting a little more to it, but go ahead.
That's funny because when Kamala Harris was running and she made her speech, she said, and family is my HBCUs.
Yes.
The Divine Nine and my beloved Alpha, Kappa Alpha sorority. And they said people were blowing up their phones, blowing up Google. What's Divine Nine? What's HBCUs? So, we've all gotten a good lesson, about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the country have come to know that so many people, you talk about Martin Luther King, talk about Stokely Carmichael, Thurgood Marshall, all of the African-American intelligentsia, for the most part, comes out of these institutions.
Exactly.
And they persevered for, in some cases, over 160, 170 years. I know Hampton, and I'm always proud to call out Hampton. So there you go. So you're doing the right thing. I want to hear it. Keep talking.
So this grant will also, we're trying to, we're going to be giving classes to teach people. They're called, the trainings to teach them, and it'll be like a 5-week course coming once a week, learning about different components. They'll be able to ask questions. We'll be dealing with people maybe with trauma, who've had relatives and friends to die. I just had a cousin to die. My cousin's husband's brother died. He's from Orangeburg. Just died 2 days ago.
And this contract is
unvaxxed, not vaxxed,
unvaxxed,
and he died.
Somebody just told what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's
so
terrible.
So if somebody may be dealing with trauma, we're taught to deal with all those things. The hope is that they will get enough information to make a sound decision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To see what's going on, to believe the science. Now, granted, let's talk about this for a minute.
Yeah.
Science in the past has not been kind to Black people. Has not been trustworthy. Where did your daughter go to school, Mark?
Yeah, well, my daughter went to Tuskegee.
Tuskegee, we know what happened there, don't we? The Tuskegee experience, right?
But I know you're gonna finish that story, right?
No, go ahead. No, I'm just saying, people, when we were given diseases,
right?
STC, you know what I mean? Exactly, like lab rats.
Exactly. But in this case, you are getting the vaccination.
Right. So and we've been vaxxed all our lives, and this is we're trying to save our lives, because the vast majority of people in hospitals are Hispanic and Black people, and we're sick and we're dying of it, and we're unvaxxed. Those are unvaxxed people that are dying.
And, my wife is a healthcare worker, director of surgical services, and they've been getting hammered out there in Maryland. Those folks are doing such hard work.
Oh, yes.
Man, they people constantly.
Yes.
Despite the best efforts of the institution, people are still getting exposed in or outside of the institution. But go ahead.
Exactly.
But your contract also, from a small business perspective, has gone to all small businesses, right? That contract that you spoke of, helping getting the word out and doing all those things that you just spoke of.
Yeah, well, they're working with community partners, nonprofits in our area. And we're doing it by zip code. So we have the Gum Springs zip code, the 22306. And, we'll be working out of the confines as needed of that zip code as needed. And I think Woodbridge also has some of the grant money too. So, I talked to one of my doctor friends, and he said, we're probably going to be in this for 5 years. Because people don't realize that, but not getting vaxxed is keeping this thing ramped up.
Do what we have to, and we appreciate all the work that your organization is doing, Tilly. And I've held us over almost 10 minutes, but I want to ask you the question that I kind of prompted. If you were queen for a day, and your personal thing that you would really love to see get done, what would it be?
I want people to understand, and when I say people, I'm talking about my people.
Right.
Understand that
African American people.
Right.
Black
Understand.
people. Just want to make it clear.
Clear it up. Clear it up for me.
Go ahead and be clear. This is African American History Month. Be straight to the point.
Right. To understand, their value, to understand their worth.
Yes.
To understand that they are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And don't just settle for less. That you are an integral part of this battle that we're in. And that there is something that everybody can do. Some people say, "Oh, Tilly, I can't go to jail like you. Oh, Tilly, I can't go out there and march. You were out there last summer going to jail. I can't do that, but I'm gonna be there to take pictures of you. Or I'll be there to, I'll march with you, but I can't go to jail. Or when we're having these campaigns, bring food and water to the campaign site to the people who are phone banking, people who are out there knocking on doors. You might want to drive them, while they walk the neighborhoods.
Right.
Everybody, can you write some postcards?
Yes.
Write to your senators and your congressmen. Everybody can do something. I know people that can't walk that are out there doing it, who are on the phone. They talk. You talk
the talk.
Right. So everybody can contribute something. Write a check. Everybody
can do something.
Can do something.
It's like the Black Eagle says with Joe Madison. Everybody can do something.
Order some pizza so the people who are phone banking
do something.
Yes.
I guess as Reverend Al said, when he get too old to do nothing, he says, "I'll just pull up a chair and I'll sit down and just get in the way." We're gonna do something.
I'm saying, you know what I mean? So, and I would just pray that everybody who is eligible, I'm still registering voters. I was over there tropical smoothie. These two little guys went there. I said, "Where you go to school?" Edison High School. I said, "How old are you?" He said, 18. I said, "You ready to vote?" "No, ma'am." I whipped out my phone. And he said, "I'm gonna do it." And I gave my little mini lecture about voting. And tell your friends, be an ambassador. Tell your friends too.
Well, here's the effective change, Tilly. You remember when we met? We met because there was a group and my son was graduating from Robert E. Lee High School here in Northern Virginia. What is the name of that high school now?
Both of my children went to that high school, and it is called John R. Lewis
High School. Now. So
one
the folks from Fairfax County, Virginia said,
he died,
"You know what?
I mean, we just whoop."
There you go. So what can happen? Go ahead.
They're not the Lee Lancers, they're the Lewis Lancers.
The Lewis Lancers.
I love that. My daughter actually attended Robert E. Lee High School and was an advocate for the name change. And I want to say after she graduated, probably it had to be about 4 years later. They actually changed the name of the school, but it was a big thing with the school board and the news all of that. And they finally got that name changed.
Well, my son is 36 years old now. Just to let you know how long ago he got out of high school. Okay. I was in high school, Fairfax County. But the country is changing. It's changing because of what Tilly said. People are getting involved and insisting that people do the right thing and be fair and equitable to everyone. Tilly, I'm going to leave the last thing with you. No, go ahead. What were you going to say first, Aaron? Go ahead.
Yes, no, I just wanted to speak to what Miss Tilly said. I believe when we started at the top of the conversation, she spoke about knowing who she was. She talked about the experiences that she had, and she never forgot who she was.
Where she came from.
Exactly. And with that, I believe that is so powerful, and people need to be reminded of who we are so that they can rebuild and regain that confidence and feel like they have a place
Yes.
and purpose and can contribute to something, as you
Right.
said. So
Right.
I believe, you continuing to have this conversation, Mark and myself, to equip and empower people and help people to take their power back, we will
Mm-hmm.
continue to see the change.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing, to be an advocate and show your confidence and also speak to where you come from and those experiences. People need to hear those experiences. So, thank you so much, Ms. Tilly, for all of the work that you have done and how you continue to show up.
Hold on. She's not done yet.
Oh,
We got more for Tilly to do. She's
Okay.
got more socket to me cakes to bake. She got more marches to do. She got to continue to go to jail. She got to continue to register people to vote, run for office, run track. And when she get tired, she'll just sit in the road and get in the way. But she's not going to stop because that's Tilly.
you know what, Mark? I tell you, I said, am I going to jail? It was hot out there that day. I said, am I still going to jail? When is this going to be over? I call on my white brothers and sisters. I call on them to search your hearts.
Yes.
To know that this is not right. I think we were all just taken aback by what we saw last January the 6th. A democracy is so fragile.
Very fragile.
Very. And we saw it then. It baffles us how people could even think to do something like that. Put yourself in my shoes, walk in my shoes for just a minute.
Just a minute.
You wouldn't want to be treated like that. I wouldn't treat anybody like that. We just want fair, right? We worked hard to help build this country. So we deserve to be out there fighting for what's right. And hopefully one day that we won't have to, Aaron, like you said. I can't believe
we ain't gonna let nobody hold us back.
No.
Hold us back. Come on. Hold us back. We ain't gonna let nobody hold us back. Come on, Tilly, finish off.
Keep on walking. Keep on marching. Marching in the freedom land.
Yeah. Tilly, now if people can get a hold of you, give folks some social media if they want to be able to talk to you or get a hold of you just to get some advice or just to get some direction. Anything you'd like to share?
In terms of
social media handles.
Oh,
or email.
Whatever you feel. I'm not tech savvy.
Oh, okay. Are you on Facebook or do you have a Twitter account?
I'm on Facebook.
So they can reach you on Facebook. They want to send you a message, right?
Nelfred Blanding, yes. It's not Tilly.
Okay.
It's Nelfred Blanding. Yeah. They can DM me.
You can reach Nelfred Blanding, and I don't have all my music and stuff up like I usually do, but I think we just sung our way out. Tilly, thank you so much for coming.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome, right? Thank you all so much. You all are awesome. Both of you. Love you.
Beautiful. Love you. See you later.
Bye-bye,
see y'all next time.
You.
And thank you for being on the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus show live. And we'll see you next time, Tilly. Bye-bye.
Okay, dog. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.